My fellow maniacs, welcome to the very first video of this channel. This is Goku Africa. Now, my main intent of creating this channel is because I want to share and learn programming, and specifically C++ language with you guys. Stay tuned for upcoming tutorials, competitions and discussions. This is gonna be epic. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. Our teacher recently gave us a project in school, and while I was thinking of what I should do, the first thing which came to my mind was, well, animation. I tried to find methods of doing animation on the internet, but all of the tutorials pointed towards graphics.h, which I have no experience in, so I almost gave up the idea when I realized, why not use loops? I mean, most animations are actions repeated over and over again. I finally figured out two classic text animations which I'll show you today. Okay, so before we begin, these are some of the basic requirements to understand the concepts used in this video. First of all, you should know how to implement functions in C++. You should also know how to use loops, and you should know the difference between different data types like int, float and double. Okay, so as you can see here, there are two functions for text animations. Let me show you the first one. As you can see in the arguments, inside the double quotes, I placed the text I want to animate. Let me run it. See that? That is how this animation would be. It looks way more cooler if done for a bunch of text. Let me show you that. Okay, so now on to how this function works. As you can see, the function takes only one argument, that is, the array. Inside the function we initiate I and k for loops. Here are the nested loops. The outer loop is run by I and the inner one by k. The outer loop is pretty standard. Starts with I equals 0. Has condition array should not be equal to null, and increments I each time by 1. Now, it's the inner loop which does the real magic. To understand it, let's imagine what would happen if the inner loop is absent. Then only the outer loop, and the statement print each element of array as I gets incremented by 1 will happen. The results of this loop would have been that the statement hello world would have printed normally. Therefore we must ask ourselves, what is so special about the inner loop? To put it simply, it is a time delay loop. Basically, as you can see, k starts from 0 and is incremented each time by 1, but it goes till 30 million. Furthermore, as you can see, the loop does nothing. But as k is increased 1 at a time till 30 million, it takes computer some time to do that. That's why I said it is a time delay. Also, k is taken in double because 30 million is larger than the maximum size of an integer variable, but 30 million lies in the double range. Okay, so many of you must be wondering as to what is the use of time delay here? Basically, for the statement hello world, the computer will first print h, then wait for some time and then print e. This, when does fast enough, creates the illusion of moving text. If you still have any doubts, feel free to post it in the comments below or visit my Facebook page, link in the description. Okay, now it's time for the second function. It's done in a similar way. Let me run it. The main difference between this one and the previous function, as you may have noticed, is that this function creates a sliding animation. Again, both the functions can be used together for awesome effect. Now let's move on to the working of this second function. Okay, This function is a little bit more tricky than the first one, but uses similar concept. As you can see, this loop also has the same argument, the array itself. But this time, it is done by reference method, but you could have used earlier method. Doesn't make a difference here. 3 variables are declared for 3 loops. The outermost has k as the variable. It starts from 0 but goes till 70. Now this 70 here is important. 70 is the maximum width of my screen. You may have to change that number on your computer according to your screen width. Just use hit and trial. Okay, so inside the first loop are 2 loops. The first one has I, which starts from 0, increments each time by 1, but should be less than k. It has the statement of printing space each time. Let me explain how this works. Initially k is 0, so first loop doesn't work, as I is equal to k and that isn't allowed. Then, there is the statement of printing the array. Then the next statement is a time delay loop similar to the one used previously. This is followed by system clear, which clears everything on screen. To use this, use stdlib.h as header file. The reason we've used time delay here is because in the absence of time delay, the printed array would be cleared from screen before we even notice there is a printed statement. Now, k's value becomes 1, so now the first loop can function. As I is equal to 0, which is less than k, therefore space would be printed. After that, the statement would be printed. Therefore, we've just shifted the statement to the right side of its initial position. Then time delay and then system clear. Now k is equal to 2. So first loop would be executed 2 times, as I can be 0 as well as 1, as both are less than k. Therefore, 2 spaces would be printed followed by printing of the statement. Therefore now the statement is 2 places away from the initial position. This goes on till k becomes 71, at which point the loop stops. Now if you notice, we're not done yet. There is still a last statement in the function if you notice. This is after all the loops stop, and everything else is done. It is a simple statement which prints the array after a number of spaces, so that the statement is printed in the middle. The reason why we had to do that is because the last statement of the loops before they close is system clear, so everything on screen gets cleared. So, we've to print the statement one last time before the function ends. Okay, it was a long explanation but it's ought to do it. If you still have doubts, please comment, and visit my Facebook page. Feel free to use these 2 functions on your programs, they're easy to use and handy. Until next time, this is Goku Africa, signing out.